Have you ever, thought about how history seems to repeat itself?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's kind of like eerie, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel like every time I look at some of these biblical prophecies, especially the stuff we've got from pasted text today, where we're going to be diving deep into how these ancient predictions seem to connect with what actually happened.
It really makes you think.
And what's even crazier is how differently people interpret them.
It's true. Biblical prophecies have fascinated and perplexed people for, well, centuries, really.
Yeah.
Part of what makes them so compelling is that there are just hundreds of them.
Wow.
And a lot of them seem to have been fulfilled long after they were actually written.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Mhm.
We're talking predictions made thousands of years ago. How do those even work? Are we talking fortune cookie vague, or is there something more specific going on?
That's a good question. There are actually different types of prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
Some are quite specific, like the one about the fall of Tyre in Ezekiel 26. Others, like those concerning the Messiah, might be considered more symbolic
Right.
or open to interpretation.
You mentioned the Messiah prophecies. Those are a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
What's the significance there?
Well, the Old Testament contains numerous prophecies about a coming Messiah.
Okay.
Christians believe many of these were fulfilled in the life of Jesus. Take Isaiah 53, for example. It was written around 700 years before Jesus
Wow.
and describes a suffering servant who bears the sins of others. Christians see this as a direct foreshadowing of Jesus' crucifixion.
So even if someone isn't, coming at it from a faith perspective, the historical impact of that belief is undeniable. I mean, entire civilizations have been built around the idea of a Messiah.
Precisely. But it's also important to remember that these prophecies aren't always interpreted in the same way.
Right.
Even within Christianity, there are different schools of thought on how literally certain prophecies should be taken.
That makes sense. It's not like reading tomorrow's news, right?
Right.
There's interpretation involved.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to that other prophecy you mentioned, the one about Tyre.
Yes.
What's the story there?
The prophecy in Ezekiel 26 predicted Tyre's destruction in striking detail, including its siege by Nebuchadnezzar,
Okay.
its stones being thrown into the sea, and its eventual reduction to a bare rock used by fishermen. What's remarkable is that historical records confirm many of these details.
This is new to me. The city of Tyre really ended up as a fishing spot. What happened?
Well, it wasn't an overnight event.
Yeah.
The prophecy came true over centuries.
Okay.
Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to Tyre in 586 BC,
Wow.
but it was Alexander the Great who ultimately completed the destruction in 332 BC. He used the rubble from the mainland city to build a causeway to the island city, effectively fulfilling the prophecy of Tyre becoming a bare rock.
Wow, so that's how those pieces fit together.
Yeah.
I'm guessing for people of faith, seeing these prophecies line up with historical events must be pretty powerful.
It certainly can strengthen their belief in God's plan and the accuracy of the Bible.
So if we think about the bigger picture here, are we saying everything's predetermined? What about free will?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Some believe prophecies point to a preordained course of history. Others see them as more conditional, potentially influenced by human choices.
Okay, so there's room for debate. What stands out to you when you look at these prophecies?
What fascinates me is that they offer a unique way to view history.
Okay.
Whether you interpret them literally or symbolically, they encourage us to consider the possibility of a larger plan at play, a story unfolding across generations.
That's a thought-provoking way to put it. It makes you wonder if there are other prophecies, maybe ones we haven't even deciphered yet, that hold clues about our future.
Exactly. And what might their implications be? Could understanding them better help us navigate the challenges facing our world today?
Whoa, now that's something to think about. If you're as intrigued by this as I am, I highly recommend checking out Pasted Text and exploring these prophecies for yourself. You might be surprised by what you discover. Until next time, keep diving deep.